American Craftsman Podcast is proud to partner with Montana Brand Tools. The West was built by people with strength and great pride in their workmanship. It was a necessity that early settlers of Montana have a strong will, a resilient character, and great determination to tame the rugged landscape while adapting to its dramatic climate. That spirit, made in the USA pride and craftsmanship, is alive today, both in how Montana Brand tools are manufactured and how they perform. Montana Brand power tool accessories are manufactured utilizing proprietary, state-of-the-art CNC machining equipment and the highest quality materials available. Montana Brand tools are guaranteed for life to be free of defects in material and workmanship because we build these tools with pride and determination. Montana Brand tools are manufactured by Rocky Mountain Twist, located in Ronan, Montana. Montana Brand's heritage comes from a long line of innovative power tool accessories. Use coupon code American Craftsman for 10% off your order at montanabrandtools.com.
All right, people. Welcome to episode 45.
Wow.
The American Craftsman Podcast.
It's only 7 more and we got a full year.
Yeah. That's crazy.
I can still remember you saying, oh, we got to do a podcast. And I'm like, wait, you mean like 15 minutes, right?
It's our longest with Manny. 3.5 hours or something.
Yeah.
Had a couple that we had to split into 2 or lower the quality really far. Don't have a printed template this week because it's just been one hell of a day. I didn't get the question thing out until late last night. So we don't have a ton of questions. But we got some good ones, it seems. So we're coming off the cuff today.
Yeah. Plus, we were already in Newark.
Yeah.
And Secaucus this morning.
Yeah.
And we did the webinar, or whatever we're calling it, the design webinar.
Maybe we'll let's do the beer and the tool, and then we can start out. We'll talk about what we did on the Patreon.
Sure.
A rundown of the day. So yeah, beer of the week is first.
Yeah, bust it open.
We just went and picked this up.
Thank you.
Oh wait, B-roll. Video. So we have a beer this week from Carton Brewing, which is right up the street in Atlantic Highlands. This is called Larry Highlander Vice Sour Ale with salted cantaloupe. 3.9% ABV. IBU is sour. There's no end to what my dad taught me in the kitchen as a child, and every carton beer is seated in a concept I germinated after he planted it. Larry is the most direct translation of one of those memories. Making breakfast for the family one morning, we cut an underripe cantaloupe that was just too flat and boring to satisfy Dad. He diced it rather than slicing, squeezed a lemon, and sprinkled some salt. It wasn't the sweet fruit it had been, but it was zippy and bright, and its firm texture bettered the dish. It was exciting, new, and different to my young perspective. Drink Larry because a 1,000-mile journey off the beaten craft starts with those first steps.
Mm-hmm. I'm guessing his dad's name is Larry.
I guess so. I think there's another brewery whose like catchphrase is off the beaten craft.
Oh, we're going to see.
I am recording, right?
I think so.
We don't want another episode like that one.
No, I don't think we got it. I don't think we got it in us to do.
I think that was the day of the live stream, wasn't it? The last one?
Where it went wrong?
Yeah.
You might be right.
Because it was like a marathon day.
Yeah.
Very clear. I think this is going to be good.
Yeah. Looking forward to this first sip.
Here
we go. Cheers, bro.
Cheers. Cheers to all you.
Wow.
I'm not getting a lot of cantaloupe.
I feel like I got lemon.
I did just eat some cashews. Maybe a little bit of cantaloupe. It's good, though.
Yeah.
We got a first this week.
First. Oh, yeah.
Cheese of the week. You can see that this costs $4.99 at the ShopRite. This is just where we need a snack.
Yeah, we've been running on empty. Now it says Google over there.
I wanted to off the beaten craft. No, I guess it's their thing.
All right, good.
Yeah. Stand corrected.
What do you got for the cheese of the week?
This is Kerrygold Dubliner, 100% natural cheese, aged cheese with a distinctive taste and a natural hint of sweetness, imported from Ireland.
I like Kerrygold.
Yeah, it's one of my go-tos. I like the butter.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I'm more familiar with their butter.
Stuff is so yellow. Hopefully I don't cut through this plate and cut through my femoral artery.
That would be a little off script.
Yeah. I think this thing's going to have to soften up a little bit.
Thank you.
But we'll get into the cheese.
Yeah.
Don't mind our eating.
No. Well, we do drink, so.
That's true.
Mm.
Probably a good... Wait, wasn't the live stream one where we ate all the peanuts afterwards? That drove people crazy. Because we were cracking peanuts for like an hour and a half straight.
We were hungry.
Yeah. Tool of the week. Again, a little off the cuff. I had to grab some out of the basement because we're all discombobulated today. So tool of the week this week. Stanley Titan utility knife. This is my favorite utility knife. Not for shop work. This is for site work. Rough install kind of stuff. So these aren't available in the U.S. anymore. This I had to get imported in from England. But you see, the good thing about it is it has this locking wheel. So when you put this blade out and you lock this down, the blade won't go back in.
Yeah.
Like it's next to impossible. Other thing is, let me see, I'll get it all the way open. You can hold like about 20 spare blades in here. Oh,
wow.
So you see how wide that is.
That's pretty nice.
It's like a year's worth of blades. So you kind of got to pay through the nose to get these now. I think this one I paid like $35. But it's a good knife. It's solid. It's got this big, flare at the base.
And that angle.
Yeah, that way. Yeah, the angle's nice. But this, it's not going to slip out of your hand because it's got this big flare.
Oh, I like it.
So, yeah, this is my second one. The first one, what the hell did I do to it? I think I might have broken this. Broke the button off.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find a replacement, so. Yeah, I mean, these things take a beating. Really good for, like, carpentry work. When you have to cut shims or something, let's say you're cutting a big stack of shims on a door, and you lock this thing down, because you'll cut shims, and the blade will push back in.
Yeah.
Or sheetrock. This, there's no way. You get two hands on it. It's big. So, yeah, the Stanley Titan. They replaced it with some, like, Fat Max BS. That's just it's not the same thing.
Figures.
I'll see if I can get a link down in the description. Might be an eBay only kind of thing now.
Yeah. I like it.
So, yeah, check it out. Stanley Titan.
Looks like a shark.
Yeah. There's some imitators. The Lutz 357. Tried it. Didn't like it. It's got like a pull turn kind of unlock thing. It's chintzy. Doesn't have this. Yeah, I don't know. I've tried a bunch of different ones. I tried like there's another one that is called the Shark. that looks a lot like this, but it's kind of more round. But it's a fixed blade only.
Yeah,
That's a deal breaker for me.
Me too.
10-122.
Check it out.
Yeah. Maybe we'll cut the cheese with it.
All right.
No. All right, onward and upward. I guess talk a little bit about what we did today in terms of Patreon and stuff.
Yeah, we had a requested format of design.
Yeah, so something we do for the Patreon is we'll do a quarterly live stream. So this is only the second one, something we started doing last quarter, 4 months ago. So the first one we did on pricing.
Thank you.
So it was all on, how to price a job and how to, correspond with the client, all that good stuff. This one was on design. So one of our patrons, Jerry, he wrote in with an idea of what he wanted, sent like a floor plan.
Yep.
And we actually, or I should say Rob, drew it in SketchUp. And we went back and forth with Jerry, just like we would with the client, made some revisions and stuff, and came away with in an hour and a half, what could be finished into an actual design.
Yeah, it was a good collaborative effort.
So it was a lot of fun. And what we do is we save it. So now the patrons can go back if they weren't able to, make the live stream. They can go back and watch it.
Jerry was a good sport and a lot of help. He gave us feedback along the way. And really provided a platform for us to do this.
Yep. Yeah, it was fun. We had a hell of a time getting the two computers into one.
Yeah. Once again, we were reminded that our medium is wood.
Not technology.
So, yeah. We go to Best Buy yesterday, and it was like a ghost town in there, wasn't it?
And bought a bunch of stuff we didn't even need, apparently.
Yeah. We got a capture card and this monster HDMI cable that was $40.
I know.
And then we had to try and figure out how to make it work, which went right down to the wire, didn't it?
Yeah, so we use this program called OBS to do the podcast. So it basically takes multiple sources, which could vary from a camera, an audio source, a screen capture, a media source, and several other things, and combines them into one stream or file recording. Like now we're recording before we were streaming. So what we were trying to do is get a screen cap of Rob's computer and get it to my computer so that I could use it as a source on OBS so that people could follow along as Rob is drawing, but also see us on camera. Excuse me. And it was just like not working.
There was a lot of trial and error until you finally hit the right video that gave us the right information.
Yep.
But we're driving back from Newark, trying to download something that wasn't going to work.
Yeah.
Listening to videos, all the while trying to glean the right bit of info.
Yeah, so the capture card, we had the right idea with the capture card. I don't know what went wrong. So a capture card takes an HDMI signal, turns it into USB. So that's what we use from the camera. So you can take a DSLR or a mirrorless camera and basically turn it into a webcam by plugging it from mini HDMI to the capture card, which goes HDMI to USB. So that's how we get the camera signal to the computer. Rob's laptop has a HDMI out. So we figure, easy, capture card to the computer. Well, I don't know why it didn't work. Just a black screen.
But we did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was quite an accomplishment.
Yeah. Right in the nick of time, too. We're only a couple minutes late.
Yeah.
We're supposed to start at 11:30.
And I forgot
Originally,
the
we
mouse.
were supposed to start at 11.
Forgot the mouse. Forgot all
Yeah.
my notes that I made yesterday.
Yeah. Work best under pressure.
So we totally ad-libbed the whole thing.
Yeah, what else is new? Meetup, August 7th, 2:30 p.m. at Belford Brewing Co. in Belford, New Jersey.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, we hope to see you guys there if you're in the area, or if you're not in the area.
First 36 people to arrive.
Get one of these beer glasses. And we'll be doing a giveaway from Montana Brand Tools.
That's right.
It's nothing crazy, but it's a giveaway.
It is. So yeah, but one of these glasses, that's worth the price of admission there.
Yeah, admission's free.
Oh, well,
So it's well worth it. Yeah. We don't have a template this week, so I'm just going to be reading the questions off my phone.
Yeah. You know what's fun though, when you finally put a face to a name. Like, now I just met Keith when he was helping us.
Blackthorn Concepts, Keith?
Yeah. But now I feel like I've known him after I've met him just 2 or 3 times shortly.
Yep.
Like I've known him for so long. It's funny how that works.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was like that with like Keith from 2-Bit and John Peters and
yeah.
You know, when you have this connection through social media first, it makes getting to know someone like
you become fast friends.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, John will be there, I'm sure.
Yeah, he has something going on later, so he'll be there, but not for very long. He said.
Cool.
So yeah, we have a post on Instagram. So if you're coming, or know anyone who would like to come, you know, you feel free to share the post and get the word out. They can fit up to 100 people. So, I mean, I don't expect us to have 100, but if we could get 100 people, that'd be awesome.
Wow. Yeah.
This is a cool little brewery. 2 brothers, good beer. We had their beer at my wedding.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to be drinking the beer that they're making on the premises.
Yeah, yeah.
In our glasses.
In these American Craftsman glasses.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, I guess we better get into these questions here.
Yeah, let's see what we got.
What do you think about Jack's question? Should that be the
question of the week?
Oh, wait. I don't know. This one from Parker, our patron's pretty good for question of the week.
All right, I'll leave it in your capable hands.
All right. Let's see. You want to open with Jack's? It's a good one.
Yeah.
It'll get us thinking. So this is from Jack Thornton. He is Jack Thornton 98 on Instagram. He's in Australia. He's an apprentice. We've had a bunch of questions from Jack and talked about his apprenticeship and stuff. Dear Rob and Jeff, hope all is well in the United States and in your little pocket of paradise, a.k.a. the shop.
It is.
I have been following along keenly to both the podcast and the Instagram feed. As always, very informative, relatable, and inspiring. Thank you. I have been working on a variety of interesting projects at work and at home, but have been having some issues with poor communication and organization from quote-unquote management. It stems from the 2 workers in the office, one being the boss, being too busy to look far ahead and keep us on the shop floor informed about what to do next and what needs to be organized to continue workflow. I feel the need to implement some actual systems or forms to be able to improve communication and allow the workers to look ahead at upcoming jobs and ensure there are sufficient materials, measurements, and the ability to check whether all aspects of construction have been carefully considered and planned. What measures could be put into place to improve communication and forward planning? Do you have any experience with sanding schedules, job cards, or even Gantt charts? Any advice would be appreciated. Keep on fighting the good fight. Yours sincerely, Jack Thornton, Sydney, Australia.
Nice.
Great question.
Yeah.
We read this on the drive up to we're going to Secaucus.
Secaucus.
Yeah. So I guess we better backtrack to what we did today. So I've been working on a prototype for my buddy. I don't think I could say too much about it. I've been talking to some people about it, but he has a company and making something for him to present to another company. He's got a warehouse up in Secaucus, so I thought I had it done yesterday. Lou called me on the way home. We're chatting. I'm sitting out in my truck, because it takes me 5 minutes to get home. So I'm sitting out in the truck, and we're talking, and I go, oh, shit. I said I forgot to make the X for the thing. So I went to the shop. We were planning on leaving at 7 to deliver this thing because, it's about an hour and a half, 2-hour drive.
It was only 23 miles, or was it 40
No, it was
miles?
40 miles.
40 miles. So for those not familiar, 40 miles takes an hour and a half around here.
Yeah. So I had to go in the shop at 5 to get it done. We still didn't leave until like 7:20 for me to get these couple things done. Yeah, and battle with traffic all the way up. Got that delivered. I think we left there about 9:45 maybe.
Yeah.
Or maybe 9:30. Then we went to Newark because we filled up my truck yesterday with stuff to deliver there that we're going to install tomorrow. But this marathon's not ending.
No.
So we dropped that stuff off, and then we had to fight all the traffic to get back here. So yeah, just been a crazy day.
Yeah, we're just catching our breath now.
I set my alarm for 3:40 this morning.
Oh God,
that's what time I woke up.
You'll be going to bed early tonight.
Yeah.
It'll be a race between you and the boy.
It is anyway, even on a good day.
So what do you think about Jack's question?
We definitely have experience with poor bosses who are bad planners and have zero forethought.
Poor management.
Foresight. Yeah.
That's one thing that comes to mind right off the bat is that one of the people responsible for all this chaos is the boss. It leaves, in our experience, that leaves very little hope for things to change.
Yeah. The first thing I said when we read the question in the truck was, and Jack is the apprentice.
Yeah.
And he's the one that has to say, we should have some systems in place. And this is a situation that we've been in ourselves where, everybody from the very bottom, the guy that's there just to sweep the floor knows that it's just a total mess. And not to sound defeatist, but don't get your hopes up.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times when the boss is like that, there's no changing it.
No.
And there's no hope in ever changing it.
Right.
So you don't want to get too invested in it because it's going to eat you alive if you.
That's why it's been perpetuated. The people that have been there for a long enough time, they've already succumbed to it, and their coping mechanism is to just ride the waves.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how we found it as well when we worked in a place where there was a lot of chaos and mismanagement. Things constantly go wrong, and they repeatedly go wrong in the same way. And you say to yourself, this is really obvious. Why can't we just change this just a little bit and things will be better? But it doesn't. It just doesn't.
Yeah. And that's not to say that it can't.
No.
You may be in a different situation, but you need to keep that in mind before you dive into this process of trying to implement changes. It's a slippery slope because you're down towards the bottom, Jack, as an apprentice, and it might not be met with a positive response.
No.
They're going to say, who's Jack to be saying that, we're disorganized and don't know how to run a job.
But frequently it's the fresh eyes that see all these things.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, everything he sees is real. It's just people don't want to hear it.
Right.
So that's a tough one. What could we offer in a perfect world if somebody at the top was receptive to suggestion? What kind of suggestions could we offer?
I mean, I have limited experience with Gantt charts. I think Gantt charts are very good. It's hard when the schedule is changing all the time because you have this big Gantt chart that all of a sudden it gets scrapped because you made a little change and then everything, it's a domino effect. But I like the idea of something like that where, you have a calendar for the job that says start date is this, completion date is this, and filling in everything in between, whether it's ordering material, confirming the design, they need to be in finishing by this day. They need to be delivered by this day. I think something like that's good. Just creating an atmosphere of communication where you're, it kind of starts with that. Like, it's clear that no one is communicating. Yeah. So in order to create a system of communication, first you need to just start communicating.
Right.
So, I mean, that sounds kind of weird, but
I wonder if he's, because he mentioned measurements. I wonder if if their plans are being communicated clearly and accurately. It makes me think to the days when I was a catering chef, and we had a really great system at the company, and everybody had a specific role, and things went off pretty flawlessly. And I would think that the key to it all was the kitchen manager, because he was the guy who communicated from the office to the workers, we'll call them, to all the prep cooks in the kitchen. Now, I did prep a little bit, but mostly I worked on site as a chef, and then I took the job of the chef on his 2 days off. So I had a good overview of what was going on. And the chef would create the menus, which is more or less like creating the plans, the drawings. And he would also then break those down into the prep lists. So if, there was a party for 1,000 people and it had, certain entrees, certain, first course, that kind of thing, he would have that all broken down into recipes, and all the recipes would then be broken down into the different stages of prep work. And all this was given to the kitchen manager, who would then assign all these tasks to individual people. And then those individual people had to sign off on their job. So if the onions weren't diced to the right size, we could trace that back to a specific person.
Yeah.
And when it was done, it was reported and it was crossed off the list.
The place we used to work, it was kind of like that, except they give you the recipe and then you start cooking, and then there'd be like a blank area in the recipe where you're like, wait a minute, it says put in the chicken stock, but there's no chicken stock on the ingredients.
Use water.
And then, yeah. Or, the recipe would change mid, and you're already cooking.
That's right.
So you can't cook like that.
We're going to beef bourguignon now.
Yeah, but I have veal here. These are veal cutlets.
Yeah, systems. That place had a system.
Yeah.
And you know what? Everybody was happy. Sometimes people get the idea that a system is constraining in a bad way, but it's freeing.
Yeah.
Because you know what you're supposed to do, and you know that everybody is accountable for what they're doing. So you kind of work with this freedom, and you know you'll be recognized for doing the right thing and such, and everything went off really without a hitch in that place.
Yeah, it is nice as an employee to work somewhere that has good systems. I haven't been so lucky to really experience it, but
I learned a lot from working at that place. When we would go out on a job to prepare for the events, we had these big, long sheets of, utensils and tools.
Like a checklist.
Yeah. What truck you're taking, how many cutting boards, how many, ovens you were going to need, the platters you were going to use. It was great.
Yeah, I like all that kind of stuff. All the, over preparation is it's better than under preparation.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And we did the same thing. There might be like past hors d'oeuvres for a dozen people in a small office, or it might be a sit-down dinner literally for 1,000 people. Same system.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked.
Yeah, it never hurts to be over-prepared or, but it always hurts to be under-prepared.
That's a good way to put it.
It's like, when we go to install, we paint over what we're going to bring, and there's nothing worse than not having what you need.
Mm-hmm.
But if you brought it and you didn't use it, it's not a big deal.
What's the worst? We pack it and unpack it.
Right.
That's it. And pretty soon we're going to have plenty of room.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess last week we still hadn't pulled the trigger.
No.
We're still looking for a van, but we finally we put a deposit down on a van. Should be here in, I don't know, hopefully a week. Or less.
We're excited like little kids.
Yeah. So we got a 2021 1500 Mercedes Sprinter. It's still at the factory in Charleston. They're made in the USA, Charleston, South Carolina.
Yeah.
So we should be getting that maybe as soon as like Thursday.
Yeah, it's I can't remember the last time I was really looking forward to something as much as this.
Yeah, it's gonna be nice. We
need
nice
it.
to have it like 2 weeks ago, but
we definitely need it.
Yeah, and man, buying a van right now is hard.
Yeah, we went to 2 or 3 places, and they were nice enough. They just didn't really seem like they cared if we bought anything or not.
Yeah.
And a few places didn't even like call us back right away or at all.
Yeah, the one place, like the guy talked to him and he was like, "Oh yeah, I think I got something. Let me check on it. I'll give you a call back." I didn't hear from him, so the next day I called. Oh, he's with a client. He'll call you back. Didn't call back, so I called again. Got somebody else. I said, "Listen, I don't have time to wait for this guy. I'll talk to you." Then he called. Oh, Doug he's gonna call you back. And then didn't hear anything. Then the guy, "Hey, this is Carmine." I said, "Carmine, I bought a car from somebody else."
Yeah.
He's like, "I got time to wait around for you?" This was like 2 days later.
Yeah, so there is a real shortage of vans and a real shortage of the Mercedes.
Gas.
Gas,
There's a bunch of diesels around, but no gas.
Yeah, diesel wouldn't work for us because of our short trips of driving and things like that. So we needed a gas engine. We wanted the Mercedes. It's really, we feel, the best value.
Yep.
And the best vehicle for us. And there was none to be had.
Yeah, and the used market is like insanely inflated.
Right. Everything's got over 100,000 miles on it, and
you'd be lucky to get one for less than 30,000 used.
Right. So they're not really marking them down appropriately, and we learned that. It still baffles me why they're all getting turned into refrigerated vans, but there's a high markup on. I guess that's all the info I need.
Yeah, and even from other dealers, we heard like just people doing highway or city driving. Everybody's buying up the gas. Because diesel is a highway.
Right.
You want to drive 100 miles a clip at least with a diesel, and really run it.
So I guess in our area, it's all congested. It's probably opposite in some areas of the country where there's more wide open.
I think it just has to do with the function of the van, like what people are using them for, deliveries and within the city and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, so we got one coming. We're shopping now. We got a nice wrap thing.
Yeah, I'm waiting to. I got to send that guy a deposit. We got to get a stereo. Not a stereo. A new head unit put in because it just comes with a stock, just a tiny little screen, like a LCD screen or whatever.
Yeah, I can't read that small thing.
No, and we need to have CarPlay integrated so we can have our navigation and all that shit.
And the backup, it'll be nice on the big screen.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's some big news. I mean, that's a big thing for a little company like ours.
Yeah. Moving on up.
Yeah. To the east side.
Mm-hmm. We kind of got off tangent there.
What were we talking about?
Jack's question.
Oh, Jack. Sorry, Jack. Systems. Yeah. I asked about measurements. I don't know if we touched on that, but yeah, it all starts at the top.
Yeah. Really
all starts at the top, and you'll find that for the most part, the workforce will start taking on the personality of what's delivered to them from the office. If they don't care, if there's a sense that they don't care in the office, the people tend to care a little bit less down there on the shop floor.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a bad scene.
Yeah, I'd say just open up the lines of communication, express how you feel, and go from there. You'll get a feel whether it's going to be worth your time to try and figure out something concrete or not.
One little thing, I don't know if it'll help you. When I was in a position more similar to yours, I would tend to pose things more like a question instead of putting people on the defensive. You want to almost make it seem like it's their idea.
A little reverse psychology.
Yeah. What do you guys think if something like this was to happen? I'm not sure, but...
You remember that idea you had? You told me the other day about... That was my idea? Yeah, it was your idea.
Well, good luck to you, Jack.
Yeah.
Sounds like you got a lot on the ball.
Yeah.
So, maybe you're outgrowing that position already.
Right.
What's our next question?
Let's see. Got one here from Lucas Baudet on Instagram.
That's a new name, I think.
Yeah. Ever have any accidents in the shop?
A real accident? Thank goodness, no.
No, nothing serious.
There was that time you shot the nail through your thumb.
Yeah.
And we've had enormous splinters. Well over an inch long splinters.
Oh yeah, white oak especially.
Yes. But if you're in the shop, there's always going to be some blood somewhere.
Yeah.
If you look at our hands, and we've been working with that material for the commercial job.
Mm-hmm,
that
like
stuff,
melamine.
That stuff will cut you up like nobody's business.
Oh yeah, especially you catch a corner of edge banding or something. There's always bloody knuckles, and you get you cut yourself on the square edge of a board.
Mm-hmm.
But nothing serious.
We got good safety protocols, and there's
I've had a rough kickback or two in my day, but luckily nothing crazy.
Yeah. We work pretty steady and at a not harried pace, which helps.
Yeah.
We tend to recognize when we're starting to maybe fatigue or something of that nature, so we try and avoid those situations where you might get hurt.
Yeah, I'm more likely to drop a clamp on my foot or something.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff happens all the time.
I walk into something.
Yeah, catch your ankle knuckle on a friggin'
hit my head on the corner of the machine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, we have the saw stop, which...
But knock on wood.
Yes.
Yeah, which I ran in bypass like all day yesterday.
Cutting aluminum.
Yeah, I'm like this can cut me now.
But yeah, for those that didn't know that, the saw stop can run in a bypass mode.
Right, so you could cut. Oh, excuse me, Lou, I'm yawning. Yeah, the saw stop can cut conductive material. You just run it in bypass mode.
Yeah. Yeah, we had to cut a bunch of aluminum for that prototype.
Yeah, I was even cutting it again this morning. Yeah, when you rip aluminum, like 1/4-inch thick aluminum, I was bleeding like all over the place. My hands and my arms were all cut up from the little pieces coming off the blade.
Yeah, little shards.
Yeah, I mean, they were sticking in me like little needles.
Uh-huh.
And I was mid-rip of like I forget how long that was.
Was it
24 inches or
yeah.
or maybe more. Long rip. So there was no turning back.
No way.
Let's see what we got next. This one's from Who the 90 on Instagram. What do you do with wood scraps? I feel guilty not using them, but it accumulates quickly.
Yeah. Well, short answer is we give them away or burn them.
Yeah. Use them for jigs, little crap around the shop.
Yeah.
You know, if we need to make something and hardwood is suitable, we'll go digging around in the scrap bin that's in the shop. You know, we keep like one. It's not even a 55. It's like probably
I think
a 35.
35s,
Yeah, 35 gallon. You know, Rubbermaid garbage can. We have 3. One is plywood scraps, one is garbage, and one is hardwood scraps. And we'll go rummage around in there.
Yeah, when it fills up, we put it outside.
Yeah, typically we've been getting rid of it before.
Yeah. We cover it up, and we have a guy that'll come and take it away when...
Yeah, several now.
That's right. Yeah. And over at Woodworkers, what do they call Woodworker Supply, or what's the place we got our planer? What's it called? Woodcraft. That he said, you know, you guys, we sell those things. You want to get them over to us?
You mean to tell me we could drive these scraps all the way to Downingtown, Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
2 hours away?
If it was nearby, we'd definitely just dump them off.
Yeah, they sell them as pen blanks and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. But he's so right. The stuff builds up before you know it.
Yeah.
Just especially at the start of a job, because those chunks off the ends of the boards then you know, creating the parts. Oh, forget it. Yeah, that's more good firewood stuff, those big pieces.
Yeah.
You know, you might get a 1-foot-long piece.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like a 2x2 by 16 inches long. That's like perfect burning. That's perfect fire pit wood for me.
Yeah. Yeah, fits. And we have a, what do you call those stoves that we have? It's not, you know, it's an insert. That's what it's called, a fireplace insert. So it's like a cast iron stove that goes into the fireplace opening, because the house is so old, the chimney wasn't drafting. So the easiest way to fix that was to line the chimney with a stainless steel flue.
Yep.
And then we put this cast iron insert. So it looks, you know, sort of like a fireplace with a cast iron face on it. And it, you know, reduced the size of the firebox, but that size is perfect. Those things.
Yeah, you don't need a big. If you're not heating, like literally heating your whole house with a fireplace, all you need is something nice and small.
I'll fill up like one of those Homer buckets.
Yep.
And that's all night long.
Yeah, I mean, I've been working on the same wood here for quite a while now.
Yeah. We tried to give away some of the oak when we had all that oak from the confessionals
to a barbecue place. He said, "Yeah, you can bring it on. Come pick it up, you dickhead."
We had a trailer full of oak scraps, white hard oak, white hard. I've only had one beer.
Not even white quarter sawn white oak.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, you know, scraps from 1,000 board feet.
Mm-hmm.
Which was probably 100 board feet of
Yeah,
scraps.
yeah. It was a lot. It was a lot of wood.
Yeah, bring them on down.
Oh, we said
Oh,
no.
sure. How about I pay you to take it, too?
Yeah.
While I'm at it?
Well, needless to say, we didn't bring them.
No. What we got next? Got one from our buddy Justin De Palma on Instagram. Why does alcohol on a cut only hurt sometimes?
Is that true?
I don't think so.
We need to consult some medical professionals.
So Justin did the move yesterday, the pocket hole bit into the web of the hand.
Oh.
Yeah. The old square drive puncture wound.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't feel good.
No.
I forget, was it a finger? Remember that time you had to bring me like a first aid kit?
Yeah, that's right. That was
a
on
Phillips.
That was a
On
bad
34,
one.
yeah. We were doing it. I was doing an install in a commercial, like what was it, like a financial advisor building or something. And of course, the boss didn't have any. It's all steel studs.
Yeah.
No proper fasteners.
No.
So I'm putting regular.
No self tappers.
Number 8 by 2.5 wood screws into the things, and you got to lean into them like a mother to get them to get through, and bite. And yeah, it took I used those Philo number 2 Phillips, and they're pretty sharp.
Yeah.
And I took it in the finger, and I could see all the meat in there.
Oh.
That hurt.
Yeah, that was a long time in healing.
It was kind of like right in the finger, like yeah. And I think maybe that's a scar there.
Yeah.
I was leaving that day to go to my cousin's wedding in Baltimore too, so I had to go down there with this like throbbing hand wound.
Did alcohol help?
No, not at all.
What we have in the shop is that nail polish thing that it's supposed to like seal up the cut.
Yeah, liquid bandage.
Yeah, that stings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can like smell the acetone and that stuff.
It always makes me think of when I was a kid. I've told you this 100 times. The iodine mercurochrome debate.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody that's young knows what that stuff is.
I knew what iodine was, but not mercurochrome.
Mercurochrome was also red like iodine, but it didn't sting.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how they came out with that stuff, Bactine and all those other sprays that didn't sting?
Bacitracin,
that's what it is. Well, it must be made out of the same thing mercurochrome was.
Water.
Yeah. But when I would cut myself, which was often as a little kid, my mom would bust out the iodine. And that was back when they thought, well, if it stings, it must be good,
I think that's true, though.
Yeah. And I would say, no, give me the mercurochrome. And like, no, here comes the iodine. And it'd be like a branding iron getting touched to your wound.
We always hydrogen peroxide.
Oh, yeah.
Which apparently it's not actually good to use. Neosporin, don't use it. Hydrogen peroxide, don't use it. All that stuff doesn't work, and it's not good for you.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah. Just soap and water.
Yeah, like with a burn and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
They say the best thing is to just run cool water for 10 or so minutes to cool down the area.
Yeah, but not like cold water.
Right.
Yeah.
Those old wives' tales like put butter on it and all this. That's all wrong.
Yeah. Bread it and throw it in a skillet.
Yeah.
So, Justin, I think if it doesn't hurt, that you might have killed all the nerve endings.
Yeah.
You go to the hospital.
Yeah.
Call 911.
Yes. Next up.
Next one here is coming in from Anonymous.
Anonymous.
How come humans have to wipe their asses, but animals don't? Hashtag thoughts from a one-man shop.
Oh, God. I'm gonna question whether they do or not. Have you? I mean, we need to ask Jane Goodall or something like that. Do monkeys wipe their butts?
I think it has to do with the. No, they definitely don't.
I think
it has to do with the posture. None of these
Well,
animals are upright. I think the cheeks are naturally in a more of an open position when you're quad. What do they call it? Quadruped?
Bipedal.
No, well, we're bipedal. What's four-legged?
I guess you're right. Do monkeys wipe their butt? All right. This is let's open this up in Reddit because somebody else is asking.
Get a virus.
There are a number of factors in play, including what humans consider adequately clean compared to what other primates do.
That's definitely a factor, yeah.
Man, you are right on. A significant difference comes from posture and buttock presence.
Man, I'm just like a genius.
Oh, man. This is where the kid gets it. Even in other species with fairly prominent posteriors, the anus isn't tucked away between mounds of flesh as it is with even skinny humans.
This is where we've ended up.
Why would this matter? Oh, God. Well, the passing of any but the hardest of stools will leave traces in the human buttock cleft, needing to be cleaned away. For our primate cousins, a similar stool could drop away fairly cleanly, and the anus and surroundings can air dry.
So this is the moral of the story. You start walking on all fours, you don't have to wipe your butt anymore.
Oh, God.
Well, anonymous,
I see what you started.
Listener, I hope that answers your question.
But you know what? You ask a question, you get an answer.
That's true.
Do you know the capital of
Assyria?
Assyria?
Oh, man.
I think it was Assur.
Yeah. I was thinking of the old capital.
Nineveh?
Nineveh, yeah. Oh, my God. Here's a question coming in from Nick Trayer. What is one woodworking skill you think you can improve upon, and why?
Oh, man.
How much time you got?
Yeah, it's endless. I tell you one thing that leaps to mind. I'd love to spend a lot more time on the shaper and kind of dissipate some of that fear of that thing spinning those massive cutters. But because we don't use it that often, so it's like every time is like the first time almost.
Yeah, I had to fire it up yesterday just to flush trim something. And it feels like the risk is so high that you question yourself. Like any operation with the fence,
nothing
is fine. But I don't know. That flush trim just sticking out there by itself, you know, that thing's 5 horsepower.
Yeah,
it's gonna grab on, and I mean, maybe it's less likely to grab. I don't know.
I think you're right.
I mean, it's a long list for me. Design is definitely towards the top. You know, I want to get better at design. You're talking more like tactile woodworking stuff. I don't know. Nothing's jumping out. I mean, we're constantly doing so many new things that, like, it's not like we're repeating the same things. I'm like, man, you know, I'm always messing up on this, so I wish I could get better at it. We're kind of always pushing ourselves to do something else, so it's kind of all new all the time. And even if it's the same task, the situation is so different that it's kind of new anyway.
Like the Conturo.
Yeah.
Another new thing. I mean, we didn't even really talk about it.
Yeah, we did. We talked about it last week.
Did we?
Mm-hmm.
Can't even remember.
That was the first question.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I got it right here.
What did you think about the Conturo? Well, I used it yesterday.
What do you think about the new Conturo from Jerry?
Hey, Jerry, well, listen to this. I used the Conturo yesterday, and without any kind of refresher, like busting open the manual or anything, had to do like 4 or 5 pieces, flawless.
Mm-hmm.
Easy to use. I mean, the machine just does the work. It really does.
Yep. Worth every penny.
I agree 100%. It was a joy to use and made me feel a little smarter than I really am because I got to, do it without having to break open a book.
Yeah.
So there you go. I mean, there's so much to learn. I don't even know what I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that's the truth. You have to be in a very comfortable place to like just have these certain sets of skills. And it's like, okay, there's these 10 things, but this number 3, I got to get better at number 3.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like dozens upon dozens of different things that we do.
I mean, just cutting to a line with a handsaw is a skill that I wish I was better at.
Mm-hmm.
We don't do it enough to really develop that skill to a fine point.
Yeah, it's like one of those things that comes up maybe a couple times per job, but then, it's not like we're hand cutting a whole kitchen full of dovetails.
Mm-hmm. But that's like a super basic fundamental skill that, it's that act has been replaced so much with machinery, that we don't do it too much.
Yeah, you get a woodpeckers, you draw some lines.
1/16 apart,
yeah.
just cut away.
And just resaw the whole board.
I'm going to have to take out a second mortgage on the house or something.
2, second and a third.
Won't be paying too many bills.
Yeah.
Plus, I have to pay for those woodpeckers.
We're going to need a cabinet in the van just of woodpeckers.
Oh, God.
Here's one from Brian, Great Point Woodworks on Instagram. Who builds your new house, Tom Silva or Mike Holmes? Money's no object. This is a easy question.
Yeah. Tom Silva for me. I don't want to say it, but I don't even like that other guy.
Me neither. He's like totally fugazi.
I don't like his attitude either.
Mr. Clean looking ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Tom Silva all the way.
Yeah.
I haven't even really watched any Mike Holmes kind of thing. He's too TV personality for me.
Yeah.
Tom Silva's a real guy.
Yeah.
And Tom Silva's social media is pure gold. His daughter, I guess, is in like advertising, and she does a lot of the stuff with him, and she's curated this real like his stuff it's hilarious.
Oh man. Yeah. Plus, he'd probably bring Norm with him.
Yeah.
But you know what I would say?
Keep
Ken.
Right.
I knew you were going to say the same thing.
What's his name?
Kevin O'Connor. Kevin O'Connor is not allowed on the job site.
He seems okay, but
I mean, you could bring Steve Thomas.
I want who's the landscaping guy?
Oh, what's his name? Roger.
Roger, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't doing so hot.
No, he was hurting there for a while. Because now they have another person, I think.
Yeah, I think it's a younger woman.
Yeah, I think so. I haven't seen the show too much lately.
I've talked to Kevin on social media before. He seems like a nice guy, but he could keep the tool belt hung up.
Yeah,
he can come hang out, but
he can
keep the tool belt off
if he brings food.
Yeah, bring the beer.
Don't show up empty-handed, Kevin.
Yeah. Oh Lord.
We've descended now.
We got one here from Sam. McClure's Design Build. McClure Design Build, not McClure's. Where do you see the future of boutique woodworking shops? Will they diminish in AI's path? So I have a feeling this is sort of being tied into the most recent, Modern Craftsman Podcast, where they had this guy, what the hell's his name? Anthony Wang. I don't listen to it. It's nothing against those guys. I don't have time to listen to podcasts, so I don't. And apparently it went totally off the rails. I've been seeing all kinds of stuff on social media about it. And I guess this guy was talking a lot about AI and how it's going to affect the industry. So I don't know. What do you think? Boutique woodwork and AI.
Now AI is just going to be like CNC stuff.
No, AI, artificial intelligence. So
Mhm.
like,
I mean, what can artificial intelligence do that we do outside operating machinery like a CNC or
well, if it had
something?
artificial intelligence, it could do technically anything, I guess.
So you're thinking that I don't know. I mean, isn't half of what we do based on the fact that a human does it? Otherwise, it could just be factory built stuff anyway.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's the way I look at it. Like AI is just another way of doing factory built stuff where a big machine is doing things and people are just moving the material around.
Or maybe not even that.
Yeah. I don't see it having it. I would say that it might create more of a focus on what we do.
Mm-hmm.
If it really got to a point where what we did was even more unique.
Right. Because less people are doing it.
Yeah. Less people are doing it, and AI is taking over even a larger swath of high production.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm not as well read on what AI is capable of in terms of like woodworking, but yeah, I'm kind of on the same page where people who want something handmade want it to be handmade, like
By a human.
just because a robot could make this table doesn't mean that someone. How am I like wording this? Just because a robot can make this table doesn't mean that someone who wanted a person to make it would buy the one made by the robot.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, let's look at this table as an example. Now we know that somehow these boards could be milled up by machines, and we know that a computer could pick out the boards that match
Mm-hmm.
by scanning them, and then a machine could glue it up together, and then a machine could cut it all out,
Sand it, put finish on it.
sand it,
Yeah.
spray it. A machine could do that just as well as we could. Yeah, I mean, the right set of machines.
Right. I think, the point I'm trying to make is it loses that value that people assign to something being made by another human.
Right. Yeah, not everybody will think that, but not everybody thinks that now anyway.
Right.
That's why I don't think it's going to have that big of an impact.
Yeah, I don't think it's really the what we do, I don't think is in jeopardy.
Yeah.
I think, like you said, it might even be more in demand because it'll be more unique and it'll be sort of flying in the face of this new technology.
Yeah.
Where
And here's the thing that we do that I don't know if AI will do. Of course, it could do if, I mean, I don't understand all of it like you do, but it wouldn't be cost effective. We design for the specific space and client. That's what we're all about. We're creating something that AI is just creating that table. It's been programmed to make that table over and over.
well, theoretically, AI could do that and faster and better than us because it's a computer. It's infallible.
Is it going to go to the client and talk to them and everything?
Yeah, it's artificial intelligence.
Yeah. Oh man.
It could run 100,000 design combinations in 2 seconds and come out with the one that has the highest probability of fulfilling all the client needs. And
All right. Well, I don't know how cost effective that would be. That's my last straw. You think that
it's more cost effective? You don't have to pay a computer.
I know, but how's the computer going to see the space and everything? It's got to go to their home, and the client's going to have to fill the phone. So the client's going to have to take pictures.
No, I mean, if it's AI, it could just be in, as long as whatever the device is in the space.
All right, I'm gonna say we're still my lifetime away from that. I got about.
Oh no, you're dead wrong about that. But we're talking 10 years. We're talking 15 until it's all over.
Slowly green up people. Well, we're just gonna hope that people want furniture built by people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say there's some risk, but not much.
Yeah. It's probably more risk to bigger companies that do a closer, thing like Long Branch, where they're kind of just replicating factory stuff.
Yeah. I got one here from Trinity Tradesman.
All right.
On your Dutch door, why did you run your stiles long during the build?
Oh, we wanted that grain match for one. I mean, the specific one.
I think he means, we ran the stiles long on the top and bottom.
Oh, just
to give us that one extra opportunity to square things up. If it came out of the clamps out of square.
Yeah, that's basically it.
If it's an 1/8 out of square and you have to taper the bottom rail a 1/16th, nobody's ever going to see that.
Right. Luckily, everything was cool.
Yeah.
But we, that was one of those jobs, too. You were talking about how everything was so pressure packed to be exactly right. We were trying to leave every opportunity for a correction that we could.
Leave a little escape rope over here, one over here.
And perhaps if we had, done 2, 3, 4, or half a dozen of those, we would have been more self-assured. Mm-hmm. But that was basically it.
Yeah, I mean, it's always good measure, I think, to leave yourself any out possible.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, why cut it? Why try and cut the stiles exact now if you can just cut them later? Doesn't get you any further to cut them now.
Right. We had the tooling to do it easily enough.
Yeah.
So we took that into consideration, too.
Mm-hmm.
We said if this is out of square, or even if it is square, we can just zip it off at the bottom with the track saw.
Yep. Yeah, we had to put bevels on the door anyway. Obviously, the bottom doesn't get a bevel, but had to bevel the top and the sides. So you don't want to. What are we gonna bevel the stiles and the rail and try and glue it up and get it all perfectly flush? No. You're gonna leave it a little bit long and you're gonna trim it at a bevel. The sides you can't bevel before you clamp it up, because then you're trying to clamp things together that are beveled, and you're gonna you could put beveled cauls on there and stuff, but then again you're working backwards, so it's just easier to leave them.
Yeah, it seemed to be the best solution for us, given our circumstances and everything else.
And that's definitely a time tested technique. I mean, they've been building doors that way for thousands of years.
Yeah,
1,000 years,
100. Couple of weeks.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
We actually invented that technique.
People have been doing it for a long time.
What you do, you leave them long, and then you take 36-inch woodpecker T-square.
Oh,
and you put it across the door. And
that's
you mark
where
a 16th, and then you could just bring those 16ths all the way down to the bottom of the door. And then if you add them all up, you know how long the door is.
How'd we do that without a woodpecker? This is some guesswork.
Yeah.
So that's why we just, we were just being cautious. But it's also, it is a proven method.
Yeah. I mean, some people build cabinet doors like that.
Yeah.
Let me see. I keep forgetting that the questions are on my phone. We did have one here about that secret prototype that I can't read.
Oh. Because it is clandestine.
Got one here from a patron, Wales Woodworking. Just got my first real dust collector, and I'm getting ready to set it up. What is your preferred material for ductwork? Is there anything you would change to the setup you have now? Definitely some changes we'd make.
Yeah. Our ductwork, although it's not terrible, it's kind of grown with the addition of tools and machinery throughout almost 20 years' time.
Yeah.
So you can imagine it's a bit like an expanding city where all the roads are not in the best place. And, you know, I guess you want to talk about the difference between PVC and metal.
Yeah, spiral and regular hard pipe.
Yeah.
We toyed heavily with the idea of redoing the entire duct system of the dust collector. And when you start reading about it, it's a real science.
It is.
Couple things that we learned, like, you know, we have an 8 to 6 reducer, like right at the dust collector. Horrible, horrible
Bad
for
idea.
for the efficiency of the system. So you want to run the biggest pipe possible for the longest amount of time possible on your system. You want to minimize the turns. You want to minimize flex pipe. You want to have 45 degree or greater angles on any type of turn. Like, you don't want 90 degree turns, horrible for dust collection. You don't want to use reducers. You want to use tapered reducers if you can. You know, the spiral duct is really nice. It's really expensive.
That's the big thing. It's for a small system like ours, we don't really need it. We don't have the power to suck those things in, really, to collapse them.
Yeah.
So for the most part, we have like sheet metal duct.
Yeah, just regular hard pipe that you would, you know, any HVAC place would have.
And just in the slab, there's a run of PVC down there.
Yeah, to me, PVC seems heavy.
It is heavy
and generates static.
That's the thing that people are worried about, the static electricity. So they talk about grounding it.
Yeah.
I mean, just think about how heavy deadwood was.
Oh, the soaking tubes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, those were what? 8-inch?
Those were 8. Those
PVC?
were.
Yeah.
Those were 8-inch, and about 8 feet tall.
Mm-hmm.
They were heavy.
Yeah. Yeah. So, man, what the hell was the name of that website? There was a guy. There's one guy who's done like all these studies on dust collection. It's like Bob or Bill.
I think
with
Bill
a P.
Pence.
Pence, yeah, something like that.
Bill Pence.
So look him up and do some reading. I mean, that's my biggest suggestion. We're no experts, but that's where we got a lot of the info.
Yeah.
We just took the filter off our thing, and
And it's rocking now.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely inefficient. It's leaky as all hell, but it gets the job done.
And also, it's time consuming to do all this.
Yeah.
You know, we're trying to run the business too, where it's not like we
were just going to pay somebody to come in and redo all the ductwork.
Yeah, because we can't shut down for a week or anything like that.
No.
Yeah. Is there anything else? Any other tidbits of information? Oh,
I don't think so.
You know what was an interesting bit? Again, he could probably get this online, but the way instead of doing the drops right at the machine, like how they had.
That's what I was saying.
6
like
feet.
45 degree. Yeah.
There's a lot of information online, but check out the drops.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it's not just as simple as hooking things up.
No, yeah.
You know, with the right diammeter at the
There's
exit of the machine.
There's formulas in terms of how many openings and the lengths and all.
Yeah.
It's serious. Don't call Oneida and try and get them to design a thing for you.
Yeah. They did us a little dirty.
Yeah. Got another question here from a patron from Matt Haygood. Late to this, but this is from last week. I'm building a dresser with 5 drawers, and of course, many things need to be square in order for there not to be any issues. I feel like no matter how much attention I pay to things, they always come out a little bit out of square. How square is square enough? And if things are slightly out of square at glue up, what are tips for bringing them back into square?
Oh. I mean, for drawers to operate correctly, square is square. There is really not much room for error there. Mm-hmm. You want the case needs to be square. You know, we've done the old corner thing. Like if you wind up building the case and it's slightly out of square and you haven't put the back in yet, you can, squeeze in opposite corners on the appropriate side to you squeeze in, and that makes the other opposite corners bigger. Should we explain measuring diagonals first? Did I jump ahead?
I heard if you got a $20,000 table saw, you don't have to ever check for square. 20,000 when it was new 25 years ago, mind you.
With a rectangle or a square, if you measure diagonally and they're equal, it's square.
That's a myth. Myth.
Mythbusters.
The only way to check for square is with Woodpecker's new 48-inch T-square, available at your local Woodcraft.
So just in the case, it's not a myth.
But it is.
You use, a clamp or a series of clamps to, pull in the corners that need to be pulled in, and then when the sides are even, then you can put the back on and screw the back in place to hold it square.
Yeah, or like a drawer box, even if it's like glued up and dry, you might be able to crank it back into square.
I've done that with drawer boxes. Put it on the floor and give it a little...
So how square is square enough? I'd say if everything is operating properly, then that's plenty square.
Enough, yeah.
With like inset drawers and stuff, it's going to get harder to hide those things. You got to overlay, frameless. Then it's easy to deal with. But with frame inset, it's going to show the error more.
Don't compound the errors. You know what I mean? Really, don't look at it and go, "Oh, I'll fix that with the next step. Oh, I'll fix that when I get to this part." Mm-hmm. That just makes things unfixable at a certain point. Do your best. Try and figure out where it is, things went awry. That's my best advice, Instead of saying, I've tried hard and it's still not square, see if you could backtrack to the point where things aren't square.
Yeah. And, slightly off square. I mean, nothing is ever perfectly square.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever built something perfectly square. It's mathematically impossible, I would say. Because perfectly square, we're talking about zero deviation.
Yeah.
So, if your level of deviation is small enough that it doesn't impact the overall thing, then that's square enough.
True. He might be a real perfectionist looking at like, sliding a paper underneath the framing square where he's checking.
Mm-hmm.
That's really close.
So let us know, Matt. If you have a specific instance, we can maybe offer some more specific advice. Got one here from one of our three female patrons.
I feel special.
Yeah.
We were the Rush of podcasts.
Yeah.
For those who don't understand the reference, Rush, the hard rock band.
Progressive rock band.
Yeah. They didn't have it. There was a point where they had no female fans.
Yeah.
They'd sell out coliseums, but there wasn't a female in sight.
Which is a shame. Rush is a good band.
Yeah.
This is from Kim Erickson. Just one girl in a shed about to purchase first real bandsaw.
Nice.
But don't want to purchase a second, looking at either a 14-inch or a 16-inch, same brand. While there is a price difference, the bigger is achievable. But what would be, if any, the pros and cons going with the bigger bandsaw? Is bigger always better?
We have a 17-inch in the shop.
And it's too small.
It is. Yeah, bigger's better.
Yeah. With a bandsaw, definitely.
Yeah, because the bigger one could do everything that the littler one... Is littler a word?
Probably not. Smaller.
The smaller one can do...
The littler of the two.
Yeah. But the true is not... It's not true in the reverse. The little one can't do everything that the big one can do.
Right. Typically with a larger wheeled bandsaw, you get a higher resaw capacity. It's not true with all. You know, there may be a 14-inch bandsaw that has a bigger resaw capacity than another 16-inch, but typically you have a higher resaw. And the biggest thing is the distance from the blade to the, what do you call that? That
upright position. Yeah. I think they call it, isn't that the throat?
I guess the throat width.
Yeah.
Like you get into like a 20-inch or a 36-inch bandsaw, you have a lot of space between the blade and that upright portion, so you can get in there and cut things that are wide, cut curves into big pieces of wood.
Circles.
Yeah. You know, we're limited to, it's got to be 14 inches, I think.
I think so.
14 inches from blade. Well, yeah, because it's 17 and then there's some space between the blade. Yeah, so it's about 14 inches from the blade. So if you need to cut something that's wide, sometimes you have to flip it over. Then you got to remark it because you got more, you know, so it can get complicated. They make 3-wheeled bandsaws too that have, it's even bigger.
But yeah, bandsaw, especially in the smaller range, bigger's better.
Yeah.
You know, the 16 to the 14, I totally recommend the 16.
Got to get yourself a 36-inch Tanowitz.
If you got the floor space,
then you're set.
She
and a
might
forklift.
need another shed.
Yeah, that's true.
Didn't Kim write us something to tell us that, because we were wondering if Kim was male or female. Didn't she say she's she's a real carpenter and everything like that? And she gave us a little background on what she's doing.
Oh, that was Kirsten. She's the newest patron.
Okay.
She, the other day sent over.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So Kim's a woodworker. Kirsten's a woodworker.
Uh-huh.
That's great.
Yeah. And Mary Beth.
Yeah. Mary Beth's a scientist.
She's punching below her weight class over here.
Yeah, she is.
These dumb wood guys.
I know.
I'm a pharmaceutical engineer.
Oh, man.
So, Kim, definitely.
Yeah.
I'd say go with the 16.
You won't be
and
sorry.
even, you know, if you're not locked in on these two, consider going, you know, as big as you can. 17, 18, 20, whatever.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe look for something used that's a little bit bigger. Depends on what you're doing also. Let's see. We're coming to... This is our last question. Then we got question of the week.
Okay.
This is from another patron, Colin. Question for you. No one mentions their air compressor as being more important than a saw stop. Build a story around that. I'm sure the dust blower could be a great tool of the week. When you run out of beer, maybe vino? This is more of a statement rather than a question.
That's a great question.
You know, the compressor is an unsung hero of the shop.
It is. Little Blue.
Yeah.
Little Blue even has his own name.
Yeah.
And Little Blue went down once.
Yeah, but it was just that
it was just a switch.
That overload switch.
Yep.
Which is hidden in like a terrible spot. Makita Max 700. Great compressor.
Yeah, we keep our compressor in the room with the Cyclone dust collector, so it's not in the shop proper.
It's outside pretty much, you know.
It's enclosed out of the weather, but it's in the temperature changes. But we don't have to hear it kicking on and off the way.
No, and that one's quiet, so you don't hear it you don't hear it at all, really.
Right.
Little Red, I mean, my God, the Porter Cable.
That's why it was outside
in the shop, and it's in a different room completely.
Yeah. That's how it got out there to begin with.
Yeah. Man.
Yeah, the compressor is the unsung hero because when it's working, it's one of those tools when it's working, you don't pay any mind to it, but you curse at it if for some reason.
Yeah, imagine not having that blowgun at the end of the day to just blow the dust off yourself or blow it out of whatever you're working on.
I know.
So that's a good one, Colin.
Yeah.
Colin's building a kiln.
Wow.
I think it's not a solar kiln. It's like an actual kiln.
That's pretty cool.
Not huge, but
yeah.
You know, he's harvesting trees for some heavy hitters out there in Australia.
That's amazing. So, did we cover all the bases on that question?
Yeah, let's yeah, I think so. And when we're not going to run out of beer. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Tools, we might run out of tools of the week.
Yeah.
We're going to have to start buying stuff. Sorry, wives. Let me see. Where'd that one come in? Email, I think. So this week's question of the week comes from our patron Parker Haynes. So this we will cover on the Patreon portion of the podcast. How do you think your work as a craftsman affects how you live your life? What is the relationship between the work you do with your hands, which is only possible after years and years of practice and hard work, and the habits you have in other areas of your life? Aristotle wrote that virtue is cultivated through habit and discipline, which ultimately forms our character as human beings. How do you think your work in the crafts has affected your character as a person? In case you're interested, this is one of my favorite theologians, and I thought you might like it. He sent a link. Would love to join the in-person hangout coming up, but alas, I'm a little too far away.
I love that question.
That's great.
Yeah, that goes to the core of really our business model, really.
Yeah. So thank you, Parker. Thank you for that question.
Yeah.
That's really good. Yeah, we'll cover that on the Patreon. We have to talk about the beer.
Oh, yeah.
You know, as it warmed up a little bit, I got more cantaloupe, but not a whole lot. Mostly that sort of funky sour.
Yeah. It was definitely sour, but not in a bad way.
No, I mean, I'm a big fan of sour beers.
I liked it. Wasn't my favorite of the 44 weeks, 45, but it was very drinkable. And even within this kind of category, I thought it was, had its own flavor, its own distinctive flavor.
Yeah, I liked it. Good for carton.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Carton's beers to me tend to be sort of very similar a lot of times, and I like this one.
Yeah,
it was different than some of the others. They have other sour beers that are kind of similar.
Yeah,
to that,
I feel like if I could pick that one out, like in a blind test with other similar beers, it had a little bit more of a identifiable flavor. I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing, but
so not bad.
Yeah,
3 thumbs up.
3 thumbs up for Larry.
Well, we got to thank our gold tier patrons. We got Jerry Greenan, Manny Sirianni, Dustin Fayer, Adam Podcast, David Shoemaker, and Colin Lai.
Yeah.
Did I get them all?
I think so.
1, 2, 3, 4. Did I say Manny? David Murphy.
David Murphy, you missed. Yeah. That was pretty good from memory.
Yeah.
I need a break.
Yeah, man. We've been sitting down here since about 11 a.m. It's now 3.
Oh, my God.
And we got another hour to go.
Well, we're troopers.
I know. Thank you, guys. We'll see you next week, episode 46.
Ciao.
Don't forget, meetup, August 7th, 2:30 p.m. There will be a link in the description.